Hey there, welcome back to The Magic in the Music. I'm Jen. Today, I'm going to be discussing what I consider to be one of the hidden gems of Disney Vacation Club, community halls. Today, I'll explain just what a community hall is, which resorts have them, some of the features and amenities of community halls, and how we, as a family, take advantage of DVC community halls. Before we begin, comment below and let us know if you have used DVC community halls before, and if you have, which one is your favorite. So, what is a DVC community hall? It's a space that is specifically dedicated to activities that enhance the guest experience, such as arts, crafts, card games, movies, video games, board games, and more. They sometimes have pin trading boards, coloring worksheets, and sometimes they offer checkout of sports equipment that can be used in the nearby areas. They are basically there to provide entertainment and enrichment to guests, particularly families with kids. Even though this kind of entertainment is sort of low-key compared to hanging out in a Disney theme park, we still love using the community halls. Our children do, and we think that you probably will too. And it's not just kids that enjoy DVC community halls. We have seen adults going in there, painting, doing arts and crafts, coloring, things that are relaxing as well. So adults enjoy these spaces almost as much as the kids do. Is there a cost associated with the DVC community hall? Generally, no, but sometimes there are activities that have an extra fee. Typically, if you're making something that you would take home with you that is anything more than just coloring, there would be a fee involved with it. So let's say you were painting, painting some kind of ceramic thing that you're going to take home, or you're making a tie-dye t-shirt. Those things, they do have a small fee for those, but the fees are pretty minimal. And I would say that for the most part, the fees are not going to be a limiting factor that's going to prevent you from using the community hall. There are also plenty of free activities that you can take part in at the community hall as well. So a really important point that I want to make about DVC community halls is that these are not kids clubs like many of the people are used to seeing on Disney cruises, where it's like more of a babysitting service. There actually used to be some locations at Disney Deluxe resorts, including some DVC resorts, that had a kids club where you could book space for your kid to have kind of babysitting, and you would book it and pay by the hour for that. This is not that. Community halls are not kids clubs, and they are not babysitting. So do all of the Disney Vacation Club resorts have community halls? Actually, they don't. So let's talk about the ones on Disney World property that have proper community halls first. The resorts at Disney World with official community halls are Animal Kingdom Lodge, Kidani Village, Bay Lake Tower, Boardwalk, Old Key West, and Saratoga Springs. Let's take a moment and briefly discuss each of these locations that are official community halls at Disney World. First up, we have Animal Kingdom Lodge at Kidani Village. This is located on the same level as the main lobby at Kidani Village, and it's a really great spot. One of the things to highlight at this particular community hall is the beading activities that they offer there. That's a little bit more unique and kind of specific to the theming of Animal Kingdom Lodge. Next, we have the Bay Lake Tower Community Hall. This community hall is located just off the lobby of Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort. And this one is really convenient, especially if you are just getting in, and your room's not ready. It's really close to the main lobby. It's a great place to just kind of, relax and hang out for a moment. It is a pretty small community hall, so there is not too much space there, but we also haven't found it to be particularly crowded either. It's also a great place to go if you're looking for art that it has to do and projects that have to do with the monorail, because that's kind of an iconic thing for the Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower. So you're going to find the coloring sheets and different things. Sometimes they're just Disney, and sometimes you'll see art projects that are specific to the location. Next up, we have the Boardwalk Community Hall. This one is located by the Quiet Pool, and it's in the section of the Boardwalk Villas that is closer to Hollywood Studios. It's in its own separate little building. It's actually really cute, and it's kind of a nice cozy spot, very relaxed because it is separated from everything else. The next community hall is Old Key West, and this is actually the first community hall at Disney World. And this one is quite large. I would say it's probably one of the more spacious community halls. And it is clearly the first one. Clearly, they really had an eye towards making it a family kind of centered place. It's near a lot of amenities like sports courts and, beach volleyball, and it's near the pool. So it's near bike rentals. There are all kinds of different things that are right in the area around the Old Key West Community Hall. Finally, we have the Saratoga Springs Community Hall. I'll be honest with you, we have only stayed at Saratoga Springs one time, and so we haven't visited this particular community hall. So I would love to hear from viewers. If you've been to the Saratoga Springs Community Hall, could you drop some comments and tell us a little bit more about that one? So that's not quite all of the community hall-like options at Disney World. There are a couple of other locations that I want to mention as well. The first one is the Eventi Room at Disney's Riviera Resort. I've seen some other lists where they just include this like as a proper community hall. It's not technically a community hall, but it really recently has been used much like a community hall. I recently visited and I spent some time talking with the cast member working there, and they were very gracious and kind of explained what was going on. They said that they had been having arts and crafts and painting, and it was also the place where you could sign up for their painting class. And, the cast member was just wonderful there. It has a really nice sitting area. It has tables, lots of space. It's a very spacious community hall. And it just seemed like a really, really comfortable place to be. And this cast member said, yes, this isn't technically a community hall. It's the Eventi Room. But lately, they've been opening it up and allowing it to function as a community hall. So functionally, it is a community hall. You could treat it that way. The hours, of course, could be subject to change, and they may decide if they're not getting enough guests in, they may not run it. But every time I've been there recently, they have been having the Eventi Room open as a community hall. The Eventi Room is located off the main lobby area on the ground floor. So if you go straight into the Riviera and you go straight back towards the tall 2-story windows where the staircase is, go down the stairs, take a left, and you are going to see the Eventi Room in the hallway right there. So it's kind of on that ground level where that courtyard is in the back of Riviera. Another location I'd like to mention at Disney World is at Beach Club. There is a space that is next door to their marketplace, which is also their quick service. If you go beyond that just a little bit, kind of to the left of that area, there is a space that has been used for some different kind of all-purpose things. I know sometimes they would have people meet there if they were going to do like a Pirates cruise or something like that. Or maybe they used to have kind of I don't know if they had a kids club there or something. But when we were at Beach Club last time, they had that space open and they had some cast members and some coloring sheets and things, some activities for kids. So while this isn't really a community hall, there was a space that they opened up and allowed, kids to come in and kind of, unwind and hang out in that space. So if you're staying at Beach Club, I wouldn't count on this space being open, but it may be worth checking in on it. One more in this category of sort of community halls at Disney World is Reunion Station. This is located at Wilderness Lodge. So we're talking in terms of DVC, Copper Creek and Boulder Ridge DVC locations would be able to access this. Reunion Station has had kind of different purposes through its life at Wilderness Lodge. It is located out towards the water. If you walk straight out towards the water, and it's sort of adjacent to Geyser Point. And they used to open this up. They have at certain times offered this for a fee that members would have access to this, but it's not open like a normal community hall. So again, I wouldn't really count on this. I wouldn't really assume this is something that you will be able to access. So it may just kind of depend on how DVC chooses to handle this in the future. But are there community halls at the other Disney Vacation Club resorts? Yeah, there actually are. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of a community hall at Grand Californian, but there are community halls at Vero Beach Resort, at Hilton Head Island, and at Aulani. So if you are visiting one of those non-theme park locations, definitely go looking for those community halls. Next, we're going to talk about some of the ways that our family has utilized community halls, because we think these might be some ideas that you can use as well. The first way we like to use community halls as a family is either on our arrival or departure day on our vacation. We always fly in because we live on the West Coast. And so a lot of people who are in that same situation, they are working around flights. Even if you're not flying in from far away, you might be working around a flight schedule where you have a little bit of downtime and you're maybe not planning on actually visiting a theme park that day. Often we travel throughout our first day as just all travel, and we get to the resort and sometimes maybe your room's not ready, or maybe you've already checked out of your room, but you aren't quite ready to go to the airport yet, and you have a little bit of extra time to kill. Community halls are the perfect thing for that little bit of extra time. You have an extra hour or two here or there, and it's going to really help to keep your kids engaged during those times. Another reason we really enjoy using community halls is to kind of get a break from the theme parks. The theme parks can really be kind of sensory overload. And I mean that quite literally. Everybody has different needs in terms of sensory input. Some people are very sensitive and, they get overloaded with that. And so it's really important that you give yourself some space to kind of chill out, relax, particularly children. They really, really need that variation, and sometimes things can become overwhelming. Community halls tend to be a lot more relaxed and chill than being in the theme park, which is like kind of an intense, bright, colorful, loud, crowded space. Community halls are usually much more relaxed. Generally speaking, it's a great place for any kind of guest with different sensory needs. Another really great time to visit community halls on Disney property is if the weather is bad. Usually it doesn't rain all day in Florida, but sometimes the weather can be really crummy, or you can have a bunch of storms coming through and you just don't want to go out and get drenched, go out to the theme park, or maybe you already went and got drenched and you've come back and you just need to unwind for the rest of the day. Community halls are a great thing to fill in that space. Another thing that can happen is you want to go swimming. I know my kids love to swim at the pools, but when there's lightning in the area, they're going to close the swimming pools. That is a great time to go and use that community hall. Oh, I can hear my kids screaming and playing outside and having fun. So we're going to try to ignore that. Another really great time to use DVC community halls is if you have planned a resort-only day. This is not an uncommon thing, especially for people who take longer trips with their DVC stays. And maybe you just want to take a day in the middle where it's just like we're unwinding, we're chilling out, we're just kind of eating, sleeping in, whatever. Community hall is a great place to kind of add some activities into that, particularly if you have children. It's going to keep them engaged. I know our kids, they could stay at the community hall for hours and hours on end if we let them. Another great reason to visit a DVC community hall is if you are traveling with a larger party and maybe you need a little bit of time apart. Yes, those DVC accommodations, those 2 and 3 bedroom accommodations are fantastic because you can be together with your family. And sometimes it's a little bit too much and you just need to go and have a little bit of space, or maybe different sections of the traveling party need to just separate and have a little bit more room and space. Community hall is a great place to just go take a breather and, kind of refresh and be ready to continue on with your trip. So our favorite way to utilize DVC community halls is when we have a babysitter come and babysit our children so that my husband and I can take a date night out when we go to Disney World. We usually do this once during a trip. If it's a longer trip, we might even do it twice. Now, those babysitting services, and we've used a couple of different ones, both Kids Night Out and Fairy Godmothers. We've had great experiences with those. When they come to your hotel room, it's great, but the kids do have to be entertained, and those services, they do not take them swimming. And so one of the things we always like to offer to the sitters, especially now that our children are not toddler age, they're elementary age, one of the things we always tell the babysitters is to take our kids over to the community hall because they're going to be entertained and have a great time. It's great because we can go out to a nice dinner, go on a date, leave the babysitter with the kids, but we know that the kids are having a really, really fun time. And the babysitter is there supervising them at the community hall. And honestly, it's a really easy evening for the babysitter as well. So be sure if you have a sitter coming to your hotel, make sure that they are aware of the community hall, make sure they know the hours, make sure they know where it's located, because your kids might really enjoy going and hanging out there. So as you can see, community halls are one of our very favorite things about Disney Vacation Club resorts. We only wish that every resort had one. While we don't use them every single vacation, we have definitely gotten a lot of value out of DVC community halls. So have you checked out a DVC community hall? If you have, be sure to tell us in the comments which one is your favorite. If you want to get the most out of your Disney Vacation Club membership, be sure to check out this playlist right over here. We also think you're going to really like this video right here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye.